Preseason week 1 is in the books. Let's get some quick reaction from Chris Towers on Fantasy Football Today in 5. Well, we got to see some rookie quarterbacks, and that was really exciting. Some backfield battles took some interesting turns, let's just say that. But let's find out what stood out to Chris Towers. Chris, give me a few takeaways. Let's start with your first one. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think, one of the more important position battles that's going on in preseason is Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston, just because that's going to dictate so much of how that offense looks. Taysom Hill did get the start. He played 20 snaps, mostly with the first team. But Jameis Winston played better, which shouldn't be a surprise. I think Jameis Winston's a better player and a better fit than Taysom Hill is.
I don't know if I agree with you.
I guess the argument would be that Taysom Hill, because of his rushing ability, should be able to get the most out of a team that's lagging.
No, I don't know that I agree that Winston played better.
Interesting. Okay, I thought he did.
I would say, and I feel like the general consensus is neither of them distinguished themselves. I thought, what I noticed, Chris, is that he didn't run. And yes. I think I read a quote from him. He's basically making a conscious effort not to run, but he sort of said that in the regular season, there have been situations where he would take off and run, but he's trying his best not to, I think, right now.
Yeah, and one other thing from that game was Marcus Callaway got a lot of targets. All the talking camp is that he's been the number one receiver for the Saints. Obviously, Traquan Smith and Michael Thomas haven't been there yet, but I think even when Traquan Smith is there, Marquez Callaway is going to be the guy to roster for the Saints. So definitely add him to your late round target list. Another really interesting takeaway. I guess it doesn't have that much value unless this offense is good, but Phillip Lindsay, the Houston Texans listed Phillip Lindsay and Mark Ingram as co-starters on the depth chart. And we thought, well, maybe that's nothing. It was something in this game because Phillip Lindsay was the number one running back in the 10 or so snaps that Houston's first team offense was on the field. And, you can define first team offense however you want with a team like Houston, but Phillip Lindsay played 8 snaps, mostly the first and second downs. David Johnson was really just a third down back in this one. So, David Johnson's been going around 30th, 35th at running back. Maybe Phillip Lindsay needs to be the guy to target in Houston. I don't think either one of them is worth anything inside of the top 75, maybe not the top 100, but Phillip Lindsay needs to be going higher than he has been. And then the same might be true of Malcolm Brown. He played 16 snaps with the first team.
What was this?
He played 16 snaps with the first team. Myles Gaskin was a backup in this one. And I guess I don't know what it is, but there's so much to talk about in Dolphins camp between like the ups and downs of Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Waddle's progress and all the injuries that they've had. But I've seen very little talk about Miami's backfield, and that was true last year. Remember Myles Gaskin comes in week 1. He's basically the starter. He didn't start the first game, but he played 65% of the snaps. We don't get a lot of running back talk from Miami. And so it was a surprise to see Malcolm Brown, really being the lead back. I'm not necessarily sure I believe that's going to be the case this season, but it's what we saw here. And, between the potential of Malcolm Brown being a better goal line back and potentially being a more trustworthy option in, third down situations, at least as a blocker, I think Gaskin is a better playmaker. That's concerning because really all Gaskin has going for him is, he was pretty good last year, but really what he had going for him was he played at least 65% of the snaps in every single game he played. If he's playing 50% of the snaps, he's a fringe flex at best and probably only in, a PPR league.
I think that preseason week 1 at least set up some storylines to watch for preseason week 2. It could very well be that Myles Gaskin is starting next week and gets a ton of work. I want to see what Trey Sermon can do next week. I was really not impressed. I didn't think he had a very good game. He did have 2 catches. That was nice, but didn't really show any explosiveness. That's not his thing, but Mostert didn't.
The other Trey for the 49ers looked pretty good, though.
Much better than his numbers. If you just see the box score, there were at least 2 drops. The deep, I think 80-yard touchdown pass was a beautiful throw. Fields.
Lance, by the way.
Trey Lance. Fields showed his potential. Mac Jones ran the offense pretty smoothly.
Solid,
conservatively.
None of the rookie quarterbacks looked bad. That was definitely one takeaway. Is none of them looked overwhelmed. Obviously, some of them were playing against second teamers. Some of them were playing, with their own second teams, but none of them looked like it was too much for them in their first NFL action, at least, which doesn't necessarily mean much, but it's better than the alternative.
Something to keep an eye on for preseason week 2. All right, we'll talk more about it on the full-length show tomorrow, or on Monday rather, and also reviewing a mock draft and reading your emails. Thanks a lot for listening to Fantasy Football Today.